no flashy intro or anything. We're here with our next video. It's been a while since I've made one. And what I'm going to be doing is installing this Century Arms fore-end on an LMT 556. We're basically going to be replacing the standard fore-end with this nice little Quadrail here. Basically, standard takedown, depress the D-ring, a little more difficult than it looks. And you got one cup and the other. And now you've exposed the D-ring and also the barrel nut. You've also exposed the front capture plate as well, and we're going to be removing both of these. But first, we have to get this gas tube out of the way. To get the gas tube out of the way, we're going to need roll pin punches and a small hammer. We're going to use this nice small guy here, and it is stamped 5/64, which is the suggested roll pin punch for gas tube roll pin. And it pops right out the back end. Now, some people say you can reuse these, but more often than not, you're going to find that you want to replace this. It's a $3 part. There's really no reason not to replace it, especially if this is a gun that you want to use for everyday use. I've already taken the bolt out, so basically what we're going to do, and you can see this is a well-used firearm by the carbon scoring on the gas tube. You're going to want to shimmy that gas tube down into the gun, out of the gas block or the front sight. See if I can get a better image of it here. You're going to want to do that by hand without a tool so that you don't bend it up, kink it up. Oh, there it goes. It slid right out of place there. And that'll slide down into the firearm. And we've got we're going to take this all the way out. Just like that. Nice little gas tube. It's a good time to clean this thing, both inside and out. And I'll do that before I reassemble it. Okay, so now we have a completely prepared, ready to go for cutting. That's right, we're going to be cutting both the D-ring and the front capture ring off of the gun. To do that without damaging your finish, we're going to be wrapping it in a towel just like this. And it should be a sacrificial towel because you're probably going to end up cutting the towel. Now we're going to cut on the bottom, but you don't want to cut straight on the bottom because you'll get that lug right there that holds the lower on. So we're going to offset it just a little bit, and then we're going to cut it on the top as well, offset to the other side. So we're basically cutting it in half, and we should be able to just pull it in half pretty simply. So we're just going to kind of wrap that up. Nothing too special. We just want to protect the finish on the gun. And we're going to do the same thing up here so that we protect the barrel from the cutting wheel. Now, it would be easier if I had a bench vise, but I'm going to use this extra pair of hands here. So if you could put that back in the tripod there and help me hold this steady. And now I've got some protective eyes on so I don't damage my eyes with any of this. And we're going to have some fun here. The trick here is to go really slow and pay close attention to what you're doing with the cutting wheel. And I got a nice score line going. And I'll work on this and I'll be right back with you. I'll do a quick short film cut and I'll have this cut off for you in just a second. Alright, so we're all set. You can see we've exposed our barrel nut. We have a little bit of minor scratching from the cutoff wheel just on the lower part, which is actually quite acceptable because the engagement is going to be on the upper part of the teeth here, and we don't really have to worry too much about that. And we don't even have to take this off. That's another great part about this particular handset from Centurion Arms there. So one other thing we're going to do here is we're going to take off this upper cup, and to do that I'm going to make a couple of small indents, just probably one indent with the cutoff wheel. Again, I'm going to wrap the barrel, and then I'm going to pry it up with a pair of pliers or a multi-tool. If you've got a nice Leatherman handy, we're just going to pry it off because it really isn't set there, it's pressed onto the barrel. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it back up, cut that off, and I'll be right back with you. There's one more piece that needs to come off of here, and that's this C-clip right here on the top of that upper. I don't know if you can see that real well in this light, but we need to get rid of that right there. And in order to do that, I need to get my pliers back, which I set right down here. Now this is on there, not too bad, and we don't need to worry about keeping it, so we're just going to yank it off, just like this, because this is not going to be a piece that's reused in this process. And like I said, you just toss that with the junk that you've already taken off, and the whole delta ring assembly, you can see it's just kind of mangled, and that's just part of the removal process. Last piece to come off is this guy here. This sling attachment is no longer required, as we're going to put on some QD sling attachment points on the Centurion Arms bit right here and up here. So we're going to get rid of that right now, and we're going to do that with our trusty roll pin punch set. Now if you don't have roll pin punches, I would highly recommend you go get some, as some of these do require an actual roll pin because of the way they're shaped. And this seems to be 3/32 in size. And this will kind of self-prop itself up here. And it is riveted in on the top here, so it's going to take a little bit of work to get it out. There we go, nice light taps. And this is going to be a discarded piece as well, as the only function of that rivet is to hold this guy on, and we're going to toss that away. Okay, so now we are left with a prepped and ready upper to set up our handguard here. Now this, I guess we should reinstall the gas tube if we want the rifle to work. So you can see it's quite a bit of carbon scarring here. There's probably about 3,000 or 4,000 rounds through this, but all in all, it's in pretty decent shape. It's not bent up, it's not dinged, so we're just going to reuse her. It's real important to make sure the gas tube hole is over the port, and we're just going to slide this back into the gun, just like we did when we pulled it out. And then to reinstall, we slide it right back in, same way it came out. And again, it's real important to use your hands. And we want to align the pinhole. I know you can't see it on camera, it's really tight, but there's a hole that goes through the gas tube, and there's a hole right here. And then you need to make sure that those are aligned before you start trying to tap in the new pin. Now I've got my new pin right here. There we go. And big fat fingers, little bitty pieces. Alright, so we've got the gas tube installed. It's all set and ready to go. We've got the pins set up really nicely here. And now to install the free-floating handguard from Centurion Arms. This is actually the easy part. This is where things get really simple. See, there's a slide notch right here in the handguard, and that fits over the barrel nut right here on the ridges. It's really quite simple. There's also two teeth at the top here at the bottom of the Picatinny rail, and that's going to fit on either side of the Picatinny rail here on the A2 upper. So we're just going to slide that right over there like that, and it just drops right into place. To put the bottom part on, you just put the two tabs right here with the screw holes into the tabs up front and align up the barrel nut and rotate it over. And we're going to put the screws in from the top, so we're just going to set it right down on there. Now we can just kind of drop these screws in. Now you don't need to Loctite any of these screws because from the factory there is Loctite in the screw holes already ready to go. So as you screw it down, you'll notice that it's pretty tight. Now I'm going to tighten this in a crisscross pattern, and to tighten it you don't need any kind of a torque wrench or anything like that. What you do need to do though is get to where it's just kind of seated, and I didn't seat that one all the way yet. I'm just kind of getting them cranked down a little bit until all of them have a little bit of a seat in them before I really start putting any pressure on them. So we're going to keep doing it this way. And there we go. Okay, now I've got them all seated. Now I'm going to start putting some pressure on them. What we want to do is get it to where it's hand tight and you can't put any more effort on it. And then we're going to do all 4 screws like that. And then you're going to go do another round and put a quarter turn on each screw. So that way you don't need any kind of a torque wrench or anything of the sort. Okay, so now they're all hand tight. I'm going to go back over, quarter turn, and the last one. And that's it. That's pretty much on except for the last 2 screws here. And those are the 2 screws up front. And I lost the sizing on this one because this is just one of the Allen wrenches that came with one of my gun sets, but it fits in that screw nicely. And again, there's red Loctite already dropped in the hole here. So we're just going to thread that in. And I'm going to swap sides and do it the quick way. Just like that. And then we're going to turn it over and drop the next one in. Really quick and simple. As you can see, the hardest parts of this were actually the disassembly and cleanup of the base firearm. The really simple part here was putting on the handguard itself, which is one reason why I chose this particular model. And there we go. That's it. It's a nice, strong, ultralight, free-floating Quadrail. This is one of the lightest ones on the market. It's just over 10 ounces. So you can see how advantageous that is. It just weighs just a touch more than the stock pieces do. The stock pieces weigh something in the neighborhood of 8.5 ounces, and this is only just over 10. There you go. So you're not adding a ton of weight off the front of your gun. Okay, the next thing I'm going to install is a new charging handle. You can see this is the original charging handle here from LMT. It's not a bad piece. It's a little better than the stock M4 pieces, that's for darn sure. But I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it to this BCM Gunfighter Mod 4. Basically the Mod 4 means medium. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a medium one in. And to do that I'm going to go ahead and it's already pretty well lubed up in here. So I'm not really going to have to worry about doing any kind of lubrication on this because there is plenty of gun oil already floating around in here. And we're just going to slide it in, same as disassembly, and you can see it's already sliding just fine with all the gun oil in there. And toss the bolt back in. And there we go. That's it. Mod 4. Quick and simple. Alright. Now let's check the functionality of the weapon. Make sure nothing's interfered with. And there we go.